Hello again. Been a minute. Well, like almost 2 weeks. I was thinking about maybe making a video every week, but I don't always have any something to say. So maybe I'll just make a video whenever I feel like it. Well, I felt like making a video because I was listening to Theo Vaughn, who I really love. I was just listening to how in his podcast he really just talks about whatever he's been thinking about, and sometimes that's not much, and that's okay. Sometimes it's like a really easy listen when somebody's not really going hard on some serious shit, and that's good too. I think maybe not every podcast, not every video, not everybody needs to be making heavy hitting, game changing, political fanfare type shit. Sometimes you just need someone to talk about whatever they're up to, and that's cool. I think there's a place for that. I definitely enjoy when somebody is just kind of chatting about, how it's going, and that's cool. It's really bright in this bitch. It's like the lo-fi of conversation, just being able to chill on some shit and not really have to take it too deep, or at least you could take it deep, but Ancient Aliens is taking it deep, but not taking it hard. It's shallow deep, but that's kind of where I'm at. I wanted to make a video, just talk about stuff I've been thinking about, maybe not take it too seriously, but just have a conversation with myself mainly, but just to kind of place it in your brain, see if maybe it gives you some value. I'm drinking my little drink. This is not alcohol, by the way. It's elderberry syrup that my mom makes. I add in some vinegar that I made. It's a raspberry raw vinegar that I made myself, and a sparkling water, aka spicy water. And it comes out to be like a cocktail almost. It tastes it's tangy. That's the main flavor agent there, is tang. But other than that, it's got a fruity, grapefruit, sparkling water, elderberry, raspberry. We're in berry town. But yeah, it's good. I like a vinegar drink. It's got the tangy, refreshing quality to it, but it's also it's got some probiotics. I feel like it's good for you. I don't know if you can hear that, but it's windy as hell outside, so you're gonna see plenty of branches moving around on my face, shadows and stuff. Well, let's get right into it. I don't want to take too long. I know I make these 20 minutes, but maybe try for 15 this time. See if I can't cut it down a little. Something I've been thinking about recently, because as I discussed recently, I've been meditating every day, so I've kept up with that. It's the 15th today. I have yet to meditate today, but I have meditated all 14 days of this year so far. I used my beads to get it done. Yesterday, instead of the beads, I thought I would just mix it up, so I used a timer on my phone, set it to 15 minutes, and just laid on the ground in a really sunny spot, where the window is pouring sunlight in, just to feel it. It felt pretty good. It's nice and relaxing. I've just been thinking about meditation. I think it's really good. I really like mindfulness meditation. It's a great exercise. I feel like even in the last 2 weeks, there's been just little moments that I've noticed where I otherwise would probably have not reacted as well to something, but I think I had a little more clarity or a little more space where I didn't absolutely fucking lose it. And I don't know if I can owe that to meditation or if I'm just kind of falsely assuming that that's what's making it happen, but it's kind of like vitamins. You take vitamins every day, you feel normal, nothing changes, but it's I guess it's working, it's probably working. But yeah, I feel like it's been kind of that for me. So I've really been enjoying it. I've been thinking about meditation, kind of when I do it, but also not. Sometimes just I think about it and what it means or what it does. Really, what I've been using it for is like during lunch. So I work from home 8 hours a day, 4 hours in the morning, 4 hours in the afternoon. If I don't meditate at lunch, by 3 p.m. I feel fucking done. Like I can't keep it going. Like I just feel like I'm dragging my ass towards the end of the day. I don't want to talk to anybody. Like if one more motherfucking email comes in, I'm gonna lose it. I'm gonna freak out on someone, and I just get really like bent out of shape on it. What I've been doing is meditating during lunch. So I'll do 4 hours in the morning, noon hits, I'll eat, and then I'll meditate. And by the time I'm done, I feel a little recharged, or I guess like brought back down to base level. I think if I don't meditate, then when I get to 1 p.m. and I have to get back on the computer and start working again, I feel like I'm starting from like half HP. Like I'm already like half like depleted. And by the time I'm like at like 3 p.m. or so, like I feel pretty much done. I feel like it's too much. So I've been meditating and I feel like maybe I don't come back at like 100% and like the same, but like I feel closer to what I feel at 8 than I would normally. So I feel like I get a little bit of recuperation during that time and I bring it back down. I feel like throughout the day, like when you're sitting in a room and it's completely silent and there's nobody home and it's just like quiet, slow, you can hear the breeze outside, you can hear like a clock ticking, everything feels slow, everything's normal. The room feels expansive, it feels relaxed and good. I mean, not even necessarily good, it just feels like nothing's the matter, you know? Everything is just kind of, it's like stagnant. It's not stagnant, it's just like still. But you start getting emails in the morning, people start calling you, you've got a meeting at 10, you have to deal with some shit, like something else comes up, you're looking at your phone's dinging, all the notifications are coming in, new texts, new emails, somebody calls you again, you've got more emails coming in, it just like picks up the pace. It's like just going. Like I almost think of like in a car, like the RPMs. I feel like at 8, it's like you're just idling. And then as you are working throughout the day, you can feel yourself just like kind of tweaked, just shifting the gears like and if you just go unchecked, you're just fucking freaking out, and you can like get to a point where you just snap, you just fuck, like shut up, leave me alone, like what the hell is wrong with you, and you just like break on someone and just lose it. And I don't always do that. I'm not saying that I like just explode on people all the time, but I definitely want to sometimes. Or I feel like it's like a metronome. You can hear like when you wake up and you just like wake up and you just sit in your room and you can hear like a clock ticking or something. You just hear that natural like tick, 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 tick. As you go through your day, you start to forget that rhythm and your mind takes over and like imposes a new rhythm, or all the stimulus is pushing you to a faster and faster rhythm. So that metronome from going from like a clock ticking tick, tick, tick. It's like tick, 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 and you just freak out. Like it just gets to be too much. I feel overwhelmed. Sometimes I feel like almost claustrophobic. Like you start to feel like just fucking I can't sit still. Like I'm just like there's too much going on. I can't focus on anything. I can't do anything because I'm just like I'm not having a good time. So meditation for me is like focusing on my breath is a reset to that rhythm. Is just going back to like fuck, like who knew? It was this quiet this whole time. Everything's fine. Nothing happened. It's just emails coming in, it's just phone calls happening, there's just things. It's like a massive just laser beam of information just constantly flowing at you, and then you just get caught up in it and just like lose your natural rhythm. You just lose where you're at. And you get swept away by it and you freak out and it gets to be too much. but meditation at least brings me back to that point, and it's like, all right, okay, everything that happened already happened. Everything that's about to happen, it's not for now. For right now, while I'm sitting here, all I have to worry about is nothing. I can just sit. I can just enjoy this, whatever it is. I can enjoy the feel of the air in the room, like what temperature it is. I always sit in the sun if I can. Like sometimes I'll sit inside, sometimes I'll sit outside. But I always sit in the sun and just like feel the warmth of the sun coming in. Just, I guess I take like inspiration from my dog because she's always laying in the sun when she gets a chance, and it looks nice. It looks like feels good. You can go over there and pet her, and her fur's all warm. So I'm like, all right, that's dope. Like I'll do that, and just getting back to that and just having that moment to relax, even if it is just chopping out 15 minutes of your day or whatever, just to be like, okay, like it's all right. Like you're good. Is so refreshing. It's what you need. It's what I need. So getting back to it in the afternoon is not as bad when I feel like I've been able to at least recall and reset and come back down to first gear so that when I'm at 3 p.m., 4 p.m., 5 p.m., I'm revving up, but I'm not redlining yet. I'm not so far that it's like I'm getting pissed off. I'm like losing my mind. So meditation's been good. I like it. I'm going to continue for sure. I may even add more. Some days I even feel just like, before the day starts, maybe I should meditate just to like get ahead on the good vibes. Like set your intention for the day well by starting out, not just jumping out of bed right onto a computer, but like just spending a little time just like, it's all right. We're going to be good today. Like it's just like any other day, nothing different. So we're going to be fine. And sometimes in the evening, I feel like maybe I should meditate just to have that extra decompression. Just like I get the decompression between morning and afternoon, having the decompression after the afternoon will take me from third gear all the way back down so that I can truly enjoy the rest of the evening without having the burden of what happened during the day just carry over into, like, I get off of work at 5. I usually leave around 5, if not a little after. But to have to carry that shit with you through 6, 7, 8 and think about somebody who pissed you off or think about how bad work's going to be the next day or whatever is, like, shitty. So just taking some time to bring it back down. Be like, okay, fuck. Like, you have the rest of the evening to just chill. And you can. So it's been nice. Something else I've been thinking about with meditation is like the difference between meditation, I guess mindfulness, and like flow state. So flow state, I know a lot of people have talked a lot about this, especially like podcast guys, productivity guys, whatever. I think about it mainly in terms of like athletics, especially martial arts. To me, the best way I can define flow state is to minimize the amount of space between your intention and successful action. So like in jiu-jitsu, for example, I always think about it in terms of jiu-jitsu. Using like seeing a situation and then knowing what you want to do and then having it happen is seamless with flow state. You see it, and without even worrying about everything that has to go into your action to make that positive outcome come out, you tapping that person, sweeping them, like changing the position, like passing the guard, like instead of trying to predict and then analyze and like go through the steps and like act on the steps and then like get through it and then like get there, like that's like the conscious like effort. It's an unconscious effort. You just see it and you're like boom, and then it just happens. You don't even have to think about it. It's like you're not even piloting the vehicle. You're just along for the ride. I think that flow state is a spectrum. So like there's not like it's not flow state and then it is flow state. It's just that you pass a threshold that's like now it's unconscious. So like my example is like a leg triangle. When you do a leg triangle in jiu-jitsu, you're using your legs to wrap around somebody's neck and their arm. that's a bad example. These are my arms, but you're using it to wrap around somebody's neck to choke them. And when you're first learning a leg triangle, you start out by learning the steps. So you're in closed guard, and you have to open the guard. You put the foot on the hip, and then you push his hands in and out. You throw your leg over the top of the shoulder, and then you lock it around in the back like a high guard. And then from there, you need to switch the arm over, switch your hips out. You need to turn. You need to cinch up the triangle. Like, there's a whole process to it, and there's many steps that you learn as a white belt when you're learning a leg triangle. And when you first do your first couple leg triangles, you have to work through those steps individually. You might even stop in the middle and be like, Professor, I don't know what's next. Like, I don't even know how to go from here. So you have to do all those steps individually. You're like, okay, open the guard, foot on the hip, hand goes in, like leg comes over. Like, everything is its own step, and you have to think about each one and then do it. But as you get better at the triangle, you start to think about it in terms of just like bigger steps. You're just like, all right, I'm in closed guard. His hand goes in, triangle goes up, cinch it up, it's done. It's like 4 steps instead of being like 8 steps. And then as you get better and better, the triangle is almost unconscious, but maybe the placement of the triangle, the timing of the triangle, like situations where the triangle is appropriate or advantageous to you, are still a conscious effort. So you're like, oh, there his hand goes, triangle. Or you're like, you know, I'm in closed guard, I should work for the triangle. And then as soon as you see the timing or the opening for it, then you throw the triangle and it just cinches up. You no longer have to think about the individual steps. You're just like throwing it when you're ready. And then at the true flow state is like, you get taken down, you pull guard, you're in closed guard, and then when he starts to pass you, as soon as he moves his hand, you just throw the triangle. You're not even thinking about it anymore. You just see it, and then unconsciously you're like, hand goes in, triangle, boom. And you didn't even have to worry about it. You didn't think about it. There was no steps involved, but your body has executed this technique so many times that it's like, it's all one program. You don't have to think about it in steps. It's all its own step. And I mean, I guess like theoretically the top like pinnacle of jiu-jitsu achievement is like, no longer are each individual technique its own step, but like jiu-jitsu is just one step. Like, you just are an all-encompassing, like, well-practiced, oiled machine, and like whatever the situation is, whatever is thrown at you, your unconscious memory and muscle memory has so much conditioning that like you respond in the ideal manner no matter what, without even having to think about it. That's like true mastery of jiu-jitsu and a true flow state. Anyway, closing the gap between the intention and the successful positive outcome is like flow state, is like minimizing that amount of time that you have to spend thinking about what you want to turn out and like how to actually do it, and then having that actually come about. I feel like mindfulness in a way is complementary to that, and almost kind of like an opposite. It's like a corollary to flow state. What I think about mindfulness is that mindfulness is extending the amount of time between an incoming stimulus and your automatic reaction to it, or your unconscious action to it. So as opposed to the flow state where you're minimizing consciousness and making an automatic positive outcome, this is on the other side of things. Something comes towards you, something happens to you, and you're extending out the amount of time that it takes for you to just like react to it. So like an example of you doing this badly is like, somebody says something that's a little rude to you. They're like, dude, you woke up like that? And like immediately you're just like, fuck you, man. Like, you don't get to talk to me that way. Like, who the fuck are you to say like what I'm supposed to do or whatever? And you just immediately snap on somebody without even thinking about it, without thinking about who they are, what the situation is, how you feel, how they feel, like where are they coming from, what could they have meant by that? Maybe you misinterpreted it. Like, all of these factors could be a thing, but like your immediate reaction is like, I'm offended. Boom, like just attack right back. And that is rarely advantageous. I feel like in terms of maybe physical sports and stuff, like, yeah, reacting quickly is important. Well, it's important all the time, not just sports, but I think that reacting quickly is different than reacting unconsciously and just like instinctively, and maybe like not so measured, not a response that you would want to make, is like preventing that like snap decision. So I think mindfulness is the practice of returning to your breath and just focusing on the moment and just taking yourself out of your thoughts and recognizing that you aren't your thoughts and you're just watching your thoughts, gives you that space, and it increases the space in your head so that when somebody says something to you like that and they're like, dude, like, are you serious right now? Like, I mean, I'm having trouble being mean, but if somebody just says something shitty to you and then you just take it and you're like, well, that was shitty, or like something bad happens, like you like accidentally rear end somebody in traffic, you just like hit them, like immediately, if you weren't being mindful in that situation and you're carrying all the burdens and the stress of the day, then you're just gonna be like, fuck, like now this, oh my god, and you like freak out and you jump out of the car and they're like, dude, and you're like, fuck you, man, like you should have gone. Like, that's not good. You don't want to be in that situation. It's escalating things, you're out of control, you're just tilted as fuck. Mindfulness is extending that amount of time so that you're like, shit, I just hit somebody, not good. Like, but you haven't taken the bait on that. You haven't like flipped. And just having that moment of clarity where you're like, this is not a good situation. Like, definitely not good. But not jumping on that thought and just riding that train is super important, because in that moment you're like, damn. But then you get out of your car and you're like, I'm sorry, dude. Like, that's my mistake. It is. It's not good, of course, but like, at least you not being upset about it and jumping on that and being like freaked out is like, it's gonna go so much better, guaranteed. And I think maybe it makes more sense in terms of like spoken word, because you can't take words that you say back, but they can be really hurtful to people. And if somebody makes you offended or they like freak you out or like something happens, like, you can tell your loved ones or your friends or whatever like really mean shit just if you react like immediately. Somebody cancels plans on you and you're like, you always fucking do this. Like, I'm guilty of that, I know that. And I just react sometimes a little bit angry, like right off the bat, if I feel like I've been hurt or if I feel like I've been swerved or something like that. And I'm like, damn, like, why would you do this to me? And then like immediately I want to be like, you know what, dude, you never fucking want to hang out with me anyway. And it's not the best way I could handle that, like, even if that is what I want to say, I want to have the moment to be like, you never want to hang out with me anyway, bitch. And if you do take that moment to think about it and you're like, this is what I want to say, then all the better for you. But at least giving yourself the space to make that decision, as opposed to reacting to something and then acting on it before you have had time to decide, is like so much better. To have that little moment of clarity and just think, like, maybe they got a lot going on, maybe something really bad happened and like I didn't consider that they have their own life and their own like circumstances, and who knows, I don't know, like, I could be a dick for maybe getting onto them in this case. Maybe their like parent just passed away or something and they're like, I don't want to talk about it, but I need to cancel my plans. And they're like, hey man, I can't make it. And you're like, fuck you, man. And they're like still dealing with like the trauma of whatever happened. Like, you just don't know. So long story short, I think mindfulness is great because it extends that amount of time out so that you're not just jumping on shit and just acting unconsciously and just crazily. Like, it gives you the space and time that exists. It is here, but we don't always recognize it. We get so caught up in the rhythm of our own shit and so much in our head and so much to our own rhythm, and we're fucking redlining our car, RPMs are at max, and we're just like losing it. And then when one more thing happens, you just like freak out, you snap, you fuck. And I don't like when I get that way. It definitely doesn't feel good to be that way. I feel like for me, it's only been 2 weeks. It's the 15th, started on the 1st. I have meditated for years on and off, but I mean, like, the daily habit I think is helpful. I think getting those reps in is really important. Like, being in shape, just like exercising, when you're in shape, you can feel it, and when you're out of shape, you can feel it too. And just getting back into mindful shape has been nice. I like that. I've noticed a couple times where I was really pissed off about something just recently, and like not jumping on it and being like just shitty about it, and having that moment to be like, you know what, don't say anything, just don't say anything, has been really good for just avoiding more trouble than I need. So I'm enjoying it. I recommend it. I've watched the first episode of something on Netflix. It's the Headspace. Don't know if it's called like Intro to Mindfulness or something like that. Just go to Netflix, type in Headspace. They have like a couple episodes, maybe 4 or 5. They're like 20 minutes long. I watched the first one and liked it a lot. It's like a guided meditation. It's got some visuals, but I think that the audio is the main thing. They're really trying to sell you on the Headspace app, I guess. But the app, or I mean, I guess the Netflix series doesn't make direct mention of the app. They're just trying to build brand awareness. But I really did like the episode, the first one. So if you're new to meditation, if you haven't tried it before, if you don't know how to do it, go look at it. And it's really nice. It's 20 minutes. It only takes 20 minutes. And it takes you through a guided meditation. And I really liked it. So definitely check it out if you're interested, and let me know what you think. If you've had similar experiences, if mindfulness seems like it could be something for you, or maybe you've tried it and don't like it, let me know. Or flow state. Let me know examples of flow state that you've experienced in your life, or maybe you haven't, or you want to, or like, I don't know, just get the conversation going. I don't know if I'll post next week. I don't know if I'll post in 2 weeks. I don't know if I'll post ever again. But until next time.